Josh, and Josh is the Discerning Brute. Josh, tell us a little bit about the Discerning Brute.
I am. Well, the Discerning Brute is a blog that I started about a year ago, and basically it covers fashion, food, and etiquette for the ethically handsome man. What that means is going through the fashion industry and trying to pull out what's ethical as far as the materials that are used, the labor that's used, and whether or not it's animal friendly. I think that the steps you can take to becoming an ethically handsome man are just asking yourself a few questions every time you consider purchasing something or using something. Who did this affect? Where did it come from? And am I okay with that? And usually you'll find that you're going to end up with organic vegan products if you ask yourself all of those questions.
It's true. I don't really want to be using soap all over my body that's got, like animal artifacts and roadkill and all those sorts of things in it. Is that true?
There are a lot of ingredients that are pretty scary, and they disguise them in these long, complicated names. There are a few resources that you can use to find out what ingredients are vegan and what ingredients are not. For example, a very common ingredient that's used is called lanolin, and that comes from sheep. And people don't know that it's actually oil that comes from sheep. So that's in a lot of soaps and it's in a lot of moisturizers, and steer clear. Save the sheep.
And glycerin is bad as well, is that correct?
Glycerin usually is not great. It comes from there are a few instances where it'll say vegetable-based glycerin, but usually steer clear.
What's in it?
You don't want to know.
Scary. So when did you become a vegan?
I became vegan over a decade ago. My vegan story is that I was in an environmental club in high school because my friend was in it and I had nothing better to do. I was a dork. And we used to stay after school and collect recycling because our school didn't do that, so we did it. And we decided to learn about the rainforest. So we bought an acre of rainforest to protect it, and we found out that our acre of rainforest was going to be threatened by cattle grazing. And we never had considered that the rainforest was being cut down to let cattle graze. So we decided to all be vegetarian for a week as an experiment. And in order to give us some motivation to be vegetarian, we watched a documentary called Faces of Death about slaughterhouses. We were all traumatized. I had no idea that animals were treated so horribly in slaughter. We all have these utopian visions of what a farm is like, these rolling fields with cows like meandering and enjoying their lives and chewing grass, and yes, that day comes where they have to get killed. But the reality is that 99% of where our food comes from are factory farms, and there's a reason it's called a factory farm, because it's like a factory. And in order to keep up factory standards, animals are killed so quickly and the conditions are so horrible, you would never ever consider subjecting an animal to that, and that's why I went vegan.
It's a really good reason. I'm kind of speechless. You said it so well.
And in addition to that, the dairy industry, eggs, milk, you can't really separate the two. The same cows that are being milked are then sent to slaughter. The same chickens that lay the eggs are then sent to slaughter. And egg-laying chickens are probably the most abused animals in the world. I would eat a steak before I would eat eggs. And that's how bad it is. And I'm vegan. So
that says a lot. You come to Vegan Drinks Night, and what kind of people do you find here?
The people at Vegan Drinks are all total, like, granola eating, like, grass clip eating hippies. No, I'm totally kidding. There's a stereotype about vegans that we're all frail and that we're, like, dying and pale and we don't get enough protein. But, I mean, if you look around, like, there's a diversity of people that you'd see in any other situation. There's skinny people, there's chubby people, there's gorgeous people, there's normal people, you know.
But mostly just gorgeous people, right?
Mostly beautiful, gorgeous people, which I'm going to go make.
You know what I loved about your blog is that you talked about the vegan alternative with cheese, and you talked about Dr. Cow in particular. You want to tell everybody out there about Dr. Cow, because it's really a blessing.
The reason that cheese tastes the way that it does is not because of the cow's milk necessarily. It's because of the bacterial cultures and the molds that are applied to it and aged. So Dr. Cow's vegan cheese is basically taking that concept, and instead of applying it to cow's milk, it applies it to cashew cream, macadamia paste, and, you know, a plethora of other vegan goodies. So you can get that cheesy, aged, sharp taste without having to subject cows to forced pregnancies and resulting in the veal industry.
So for great tips like Dr. Cow and high-end men's vegan fashion, as well as lots of cooking tips, like you've got so much on your site, the discerningbrute.com. Anything else I'm missing that's on your site?
You'll find everything on my site, from recipes to fashion tips. I got fashion tips for people who've got money to burn, and I've got fashion tips for people who don't have, live paycheck to paycheck. I usually recommend people to go thrift shopping, which is the cheapest. I'm collaborating with Olsen House, a fabulous shoe line for women, to do men's shoes and boots for fall and winter 2009, so look out for it. There's finally going to be some really good men's vegan shoes and boots.
Sounds great. Thanks so much for being on.
Thank you.
Come on, baby.